We're going to check out this top one. Marriage will leave you broke and alone. Don't get married in 2025 and beyond. And his thumbnail says, your wife secretly hates you. So let's jump right into it.
YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. What's going on? What's up? What's up? I don't know where I'm going to be uploading this video to, but I figured I'd make it. And it's, should you get married? Should you get married in 2025 and beyond? You guys already know my answer, but hey, don't take it from me.
Robert C. Eidson, should you get married? His audience already knows his answer. In 2025, so I don't know, what are they going to look at, the finances maybe? The question in general, right, is that should it be limited to a year, a time frame? My audience and my channel, you guys will know I'm super for marriage, but I think basically two paths in life, guys. Get married if you feel called to by the Lord, and if not, then if you're a single person, then you'll have all your time to serve the Lord. In the scriptures we read, when you're married, you have responsibilities to your spouse and to your children. But let's see what he says.
Let's ask a lawyer.
Oh, this lawyer, I've seen this guy. This is like the top divorce lawyer in the country. I've heard him in the past. He was on the Diary of a CEO. He was on there.
6% of marriages end in divorce. Like, think about that's the ones that end in divorce. So how many people, what percentage stay together for the kids? Or because they don't want to give away half their shit? Another 10%? That's conservative.
Conservative.
But let's say 20%. Okay?
That's at least right.
You now have a technology that fails 76% of the time.
Technology? The technology. Interesting.
That's insane. That's a
I'd heard before that 83% of marriages end in divorce, and of that 83%, 67 is filed by women. How accurate that is, I don't know. Getting accurate information on that, because it is all over the internet, different numbers and such, but to get accurate information on that is pretty difficult. One thing though that's impossible.
I'll agree with him there, guys. Trying to get like legit accurate numbers on the statistics, it's super difficult. Even with AI, you really have to, a lot of statistics will cut out certain key factors. And so, hearing those numbers, 83% of marriages end in divorce, it's, where are they getting this, and how are these things being measured? It's hard to find really good, accurate data on some of these topics and subjects.
To find is the male suicide rate due to divorce and child support. There are all kinds of articles, there are all kinds of death letters that have been wrote about that. So fellas, hang in there if you're on child support. I am too. You are not alone. I got 4 years of change left. I've been on child support for 16 years. Okay, it's a prison sentence. It's modern day slavery. I've been on that shit for 16 years. And it's really ruined my life and messed things up for me. But, so fellas, if you're on child support, don't do anything stupid. I know it's hard. I know it's running your life. I know it's making you miserable. I get it.
But my point is, let's avoid that from the get-go, right? So yeah, that's a bummer. It's unfortunate. You guys have been on my channel, that's probably that you know what my response would be. Let's avoid that from the get-go. All of that, 16 years, all of that.
But that's something I just wanted to throw that out there, and I just wanted to say that to the guys, because that is a statistic that they never talk about. Nobody ever talks about the number of men that commit, that self-delete, that delete themselves based off of divorce and child support, because when a man gets divorced, he loses everything. Anyways, though, I'm going to get back to the show, but I just wanted to throw that out there, man.
That's insane. That's more likely than not. 76%. If I told you there's a 76% chance when you walk out the door today you're going to get hit in the head with a bowling ball, you would not go out, or you'd wear a helmet for sure.
Or if there was a 76% chance that a plane was going to crash, you wouldn't get on it, right? If you went up to the teller, buy your plane ticket, and they said, hey, this plane's got a 76% chance of crashing today, you'd be like, I might wait till tomorrow.
But people just continue.
Yeah, but in this worldview, guys, tomorrow's not going to come, right? Like, logically, what they're saying, all this stuff would make sense, right? And unfortunately, I think our society is going to this place where, you see these videos and you hear, these commentaries of young people just aren't getting married anymore. And that is kind of the base foundational question that's being asked right now is, I know a lot of this stuff, the divorce courts, everything, having our marriage through the government and what that entails. Some people think marriage, you just get married for the tax benefits. And so that's kind of the base question again. I think it's an institution given to us by God himself. And so it has a much deeper, way more important meaning. All these ripple effects of divorce, well, obviously that's why, because it's sacred. It was sacred. It's very important. And so these are the consequences when divorce is rampant. But that is the question, right? A lot of people are moving to that place. We'll live together, we can love each other, and we just won't get married, because then all the legalities and financial entanglements, won't happen.
Continue to get married. Not only do they continue to get married, there's a presumption that you should get married, and if you don't get married, there's something wrong with you.
And it's interesting, the divorce guy, this guy right up here, straight on top of me, it's interesting because his job is a divorce lawyer, right? So like, if people don't get married, well, they're not going to get divorced, and he's out of a job. When I heard him on the Diary of a CEO, he did say that he is for marriage. When it works, it's a beautiful thing, and I think I'm pretty sure he says something along those lines. So
True.
If you've got a girlfriend and you've been with her for 5 years, and you say to someone, "We're getting married," they go, "Oh, that's great." They don't go, "Why? You're happy. Why would you get married? Like, everything's going fine. Why would you put yourself through that? Why would you run that risk?" If you say to someone, "We've been together 5 years, and we've decided we're not going to get married. We're going to move in together, but we're not going to get married." Ooh, what's wrong? You have intimacy issues? What's your problem? Meanwhile, 56% end in divorce. It's literally fits the legal definition of negligence. It's a negligent behavior. The way you define negligence in law school is when what you lose by not doing something, okay, is lower than the risk of harm. It's what's called a BPL analysis. So the burden of not doing a thing is lower than the likelihood, the probability of harm. So BPL, so burden, probability, and loss. Marriage is an inherently negligent activity. It's like owning a lion. Like the likelihood of someone getting hurt seriously by this is very, very high. No one ever says it to you, because why? Because, and I would say something. I've been doing this for over 20 years, and I still get misty-eyed at weddings. Like, I still really there's something in me that goes like, maybe it'll work out for these two. If you break it down fundamentally.
That's very optimistic of the man to sit there and think that, especially being a divorce lawyer and seeing all the divorces that he's seen over his years, over 20 years, to think that, maybe it'll work out for these two. I like to think, too, that when people get married, it's going to work out for them. I like to think that true love exists. I like to think that, if you go out and get married, you find a great woman or a great guy. You guys get married, have a family, chase down that, white picket fence, American dream, raise some kids, small house, farm, whatever it is that you want. I like to think that still exists. I like to think that is still very possible for people these days, but
and it does exist, guys. Like, the internet and clicks and everything, right, is all about what's going to sell, right? These things don't sell anymore, right? We used to get the movies, and the movies only show, right, the happily ever after. We don't see the day-to-day, the grind, the conflict, all the norms that come with it. But at the same time, there's plenty of channels and people out there, your neighbors, even relatives that are still happily married, your grandparents. And so it's definitely doable. It's a blessing. It's awesome. Can be. And in the divorce lawyer's case, it's like, if you knew those statistics, he knows, right? He's been doing this for 20 years. Would he not, object, right? Like, you care about these two individuals, and you this is what you're claiming, right? You're claiming, don't do this, because of he has the statistics, right? If you knew a plane is going to crash 80, like he said, if you know that a plane has an 83% chance of crashing when you board it, or if my grandma were to buy a plane ticket and say she's coming to visit, but that plane has an 83% chance of crashing. Like, no, grandma, don't come, right? We'll drive and pick you up. We'll pay for a bus ticket. I mean, and some of it goes back to, you know, these things these guys are saying, like, I wish it would happen, or there's something deep inside of us that wants it to work, right? And love is real. And, you know, again, in the Christian worldview, these things do exist. God, Jesus Christ in the flesh is God's love in action to humanity. It is there. It is possible. That is the reason we do have these very deep, innate feelings.
I don't know. There's way too much information out there with social media, with all the things that we got going on. There is way too much information out there. Go right now. Go trade phones with your partner. Go find your partner and trade phones with them. Find your partner and say, hey, let's trade phones. I want to see your messenger. You can see mine. See what happens with that. I mean, it's wild, man.
And you should be able to.
You know,
you should be able to, guys. Yes, I won't get into it too much, guys, but when I got married, I would not have done that. But today, 18 years later, 100%. My wife and I, we do it in a heartbeat. We don't see a need right now. There's, you know, we don't like actively do this, but and we both leave our phones wherever, text, ring, notification, it doesn't matter. But that's a huge deal, and that's a red flag, right? If you're engaged or dating or what have you, right? If that's off limits or something, that's a red flag.
So, I mean, especially, you know, if you're dating a pretty woman, it's hard. She's got guys and from Texas. If you're in Tennessee, say you're right here in Nashville, Tennessee, dating a.
And the internet has made all of this, unfortunately, right? We have access on our phones. Sin is readily available. It's very quick. It's very easy. And, you know, a lot of these things, when take the picture that they're painting, but have the couple or a family live on a farm with no internet, even just your regular American, how many of our problems go away if we're, you know, living on a farm off the land with no internet? I think social media, the depression, the anxiety, so many of our issues, not only do they come from our diet and things, but it's just we're intaking way too much information than our brains were kind of meant to handle. And people, you know, you know this because if you go onto YouTube, right, and you look up, you know, I follow this guy on YouTube, this big cow called Rufus, and people love videos like this. It's like this guy, he got a cow, named him Rufus. It's a bull, right? And he's over like the past couple of years, he's built his herd. Started with the bull, and now he's got 2 bulls, quite a few females, and quite a few calves. And so over the years, he's kind of built this little herd of, he's maybe got, you know, less than a dozen, but people eat that kind of content up, right? And it's why? Because it's wholesome, it's in contentment, nature and beauty, and people are drawn to that kind of content on YouTube, even in 2025, right? 2026 and beyond.
Pretty woman. She's got guys in Texas and San Antonio and freaking California and Atlanta and Miami, all in her inbox, trying to get with her, trying to be with her. And here you are making $20 an hour. And she's got some guy, you know, that owns a small plane trying to get with her. You know, it's wild, man. And it's, when I was coming up, you competed with the people in your neighborhood. You competed with the guys on the football team, you know, so on and so on. Your competition was what was around you. Now your competition is worldwide. So if you're dating,
yeah, I have heard that argument. I grew up in a small town, and before cell phones, I didn't have a cell phone. I graduated high school in 2008, and this was at that time the internet was coming around. And so there was, you know, AOL Instant Messenger and things like this, and online chat rooms were kind of just starting out. But before that, especially, you know, early 2000s, 1990s, if you think about our parents, it was just in your town or at your workplace, pretty much. And I don't think that this is norm. It shouldn't be norm. You know, when he says you're competing with guys worldwide, it's, you know, I don't know if that's for everybody. I know everybody kind of has a smartphone nowadays. You know, is that realistically how it is for every single person out there? And it doesn't have to be, right? Like, if you're not on social media, if you live out in the country, right, which I work with this dude, country kid, young kid, and he's not on social media. Dude doesn't have a care in the world. But that's not to say that, you know, the females, you know, if they're online, then they're online. But you know, I guess just steer clear. And yeah, I guess your pool is going to be smaller to choose from. But I have heard this argument before. It used to be the pool that you were picking from and your competition was much smaller.
Attractive woman, if you're dating like an 8 to a 10, then your competition is worldwide. Even if she's not that, you know, even if she's like a 5 or a 6, I'm trying to be nice, but even if she's on a low scale, she's still got people in her inboxes coming at her. And then here you are. You know, I don't know, man. I can't recommend it because men are the ones that lose. They have way too much to lose. It's just, I can't recommend that young men go out here and get married. Marriage is no longer, it is no longer between man, woman, and God. It's between man, woman, and government.
Okay, yeah, I can agree with that. And so we should go back to how it was before. let's not abolish it completely, but let's go back to what it was before, 100%. But and when he says it's bad for the man, or divorce ruins the man, it ruins everybody. Like go watch my last video, you'll see my whole family tree, and especially the kids. That's one of the huge. That's a huge thing for me, being a product of it. It doesn't just ruin the man. I know a lot of people online, and especially in the manosphere today, right? All these red pillars, and people are telling young men not to get married and whatnot, and that you're going to ruin your life, you'll lose everything. It's just not the case, I don't think. I mean, I understand what they're saying, and I just don't prescribe to that worldview.
Okay, marriage is a business contract anymore. It's not what it used to be. I can't recommend that any young man go out here and get married. I can't. Some of you guys may have seen this man before. His video went all over it went all around. It went viral a few times, actually.
My divorce cost me? Well, this is a fantastic question. There's direct and there's indirect costs. Direct costs, I lost $106,000 out of my 401k retirement plan I spent 20 years contributing to. I also lost half the equity in the home, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, cash, and savings that I also spent 20 years contributing to.
Yeah, this is what they're talking about.
I also lost half of all the non-liquid assets like furniture, household goods, electronics, cars.
The reason why men nowadays should not get married without having a prenuptial agreement.
Keep in mind, I paid for all of these. And this is in addition to financially supporting her and her/our daughter for 17 years, which is many hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Her/our daughter. Dude, see, it's just horrible, man. It's not the marriage part. It's the divorce part. Oh, man. And that's rough. Like, but again, foundationally, like, where did it come from? Right? It's an institution created by God. It's sacred. If we just made it up and these are the results, maybe you should get rid of it. But like any, it's I paid for this. It was my money. Like, no. Remember, what's mine is yours. Remember that? Remember that?
I'm now broke, live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and have a negative net worth for the first time since I was, 25. Indirect cost.
Who cares about your net worth, dude? I keep hearing this all over, dude. Your net worth. Who cares, dude? Your regular average Joe American. We're not. Whoever measured their net worth? When was our grandparents and our parents ever measuring their net worth? No, nobody was measuring their net worth. This is the hyper individualistic capitalism that we have in America now, that every single person wants to be wicked rich, and I just want to do what I want, and my happiness, me. Dude, who cares? This is for better or worse, right? For richer or poorer.
My job, my sobriety, my self-worth, my masculinity, my hope for the future, my ability to trust women again, my belief in God, my pride, my motivation, my physical health. I don't know, let's just say everything.
It's so sad to hear that, his belief in God. And you can, like, I know a lot of guys, right, they'll blame feminism and the women, but what can we do?
So how much am I divorced?
Like he said, let's just say everything, and guarantee that 17-year-old daughter doesn't even fool with him. Probably has absolutely nothing to do with this guy. So I mean, yeah, like he just said, it cost him.
But again, I'm pointing at the divorce. It wasn't the marriage that did that. It was the divorce part, right? And I think about this all the time with my parents. My parents were under middle class. I mean, I don't know if we weren't considered poor, but I grew up in trailer parks. Eventually, my parents bought us a small house in a small town outside of the Twin Cities, like an hour outside of the Twin Cities. My dad was a union painter forever. My mom had jobs here and there. 3 kids, but they had a nice home. They were upgrading and repairing it and maintaining it. To eventually 2 vehicles. We never had a brand new vehicle. And then after the divorce, what happened? They lost, one income can't support that, right? So the house is gone. Cars are the paid off cars are gone. Both end up renting. One's in an apartment, one's in a duplex or a trailer or whatever. Like, yeah, everything gets reset. So why don't we avoid that? Let's fix what we can fix here, because we made vows to each other. We did love each other. Yeah, people change, but people change every day all through their life, right? When you made that commitment on that great day when you were in love and so happy, let's try to avoid this.
Everything. His sobriety, his health, his mental health. He lost everything. Negative net worth. Since first time he's had a negative net worth since he was 25 years old. Now he can no longer trust women. I mean, yeah, after you go through that, you don't even want a woman. You're not even interested. And so a hard head makes a soft ass, fellas. For those that are thinking all that, because we know when I was younger, I'd be like, man, that happened to him. Ain't gonna happen to me. Happened to me. Happened to me. And I sat back and I used to be like, man, that happened to him. It ain't gonna happen to me. That ain't gonna happen to me. Sure as shit happened to me. Once you go through that, you don't even want to be with a woman. You don't want to live with a woman. I'm not getting married again. I don't want any more kids. I had 2 kids by 2 different women, and both of them ruined my chances of being a father. Threw me in the child support system, alienated me from the kids, the whole wop. I don't want any more kids. I'm not getting married. None of that. I'm not doing any of that. I'm always going to maintain my own home. I don't care how serious I get with somebody. I will always maintain my own, because I've been left homeless by the child support system twice. I've been thrown out because I actually lived with my second son. Hell, I've lived with multiple women and been thrown out on my ass. It's not going to happen to me again. To you younger guys, you need to listen up. You need to stop thinking that, oh, that just happened to them. That just happened to them. It won't happen to me. Now, guys, you need to really, really listen up. This shit is no joke. I remember going to child support court. And this guy had cancer. Man, he was literally dying from cancer. And all they cared about was where he was getting money from so they could take it. I swear to you. He was literally in there, oxygen, the whole wop. The man was dying, had proof, had paperwork, everything. They didn't give a shit. That man was literally dying. He was in a very aggressive stage 3, moving into a stage 4, and he just knew that it was over for him. He probably had a year left or so, and all they cared about was where he was getting money from. I was sitting there in child support court. So those that don't know, when you go to child support court, you're in there with everybody. And I was sitting there, man, and this dude's literally dying, and all they care about, he's already had to move back in with his parents, been divorced, ex-wife took everything, trying to get more money out of him. He's living on like Social Security or something, something whatever was through his job. Dude's drawing like $1,400 a month, and all they care about is what they can take. Literally, what they can take from this guy. That's all they cared about, was what can we get from him. That system does not care about you. These women do not care about you. You go out here and impregnate some old rum-dum and your ass is done, son.
Okay, but whose fault is that? Like, I won't deny what every guy says about the custody courts in our country, right? And all these things. But when they say young men listen up, I would say the same thing. Marriage it's not a game. It's a divine institution. Okay. And it goes back to God or government. Where did we get this from? And who makes the rules? What is the purpose? All these different things. My younger brother's about to be engaged. I have 2 best friends that are engaged. Like, and this is a big deal for me. All you got, any of my subscribers knows, like, this is what my channel is about. We've all heard these stories. We've heard the stories. It's unfortunate, but it comes back to the choices that we make. This guy's like, when you just get some rum dum pregnant, well, yeah, that's a choice that you make, right? We're 11 minutes into this. Husband, let's see what some of the comments are. A woman can love you one day, telling you she can't see herself without you. Then the next day, she ain't feeling it and calls it quits. Yeah, I'd say a man can do that too, right? Like anybody can do that. And what the common response would be is, well, the man's the one that gets screwed over, right? That's what people would say. I'd say everybody loses in divorce. You can say women are living off of, alimony or whatever. I don't think in the average day-to-day Joe, us bottom 80% of Americans or whatever, like maybe Jeff Bezos, like all those, maybe in their cases, right? You could say that, right? The women, because we're talking about billions and millions of dollars, but I don't know that in the bottom, us bottom dwellers, that's quite the case. I think everybody loses. Wrong. My wife doesn't secretly hate me. She openly hates me. That's kind of funny. I am 48, single, never been married, no kids. I dodged a nuclear missile for sure. Again, marriage isn't for everybody, but I think it's for the majority of the population. Kids are a huge blessing. Marriage is a huge blessing. My wife has been a huge blessing to me. It's part of the reason where I am today. A woman's love is transactional. Momentary. Married 2020, divorced 2024, ended up homeless, car taken away, and outright broke. Yep. If any of the guys thinking about getting married and just stumbles across my comment, do not do it. Best decision of my life was avoiding marriage. Best decision of my life was getting married. So not married, but even cohabitation is no joke. See, I mean, you're gonna have this, the same issues, right? Cohabitation is just marriage without contract. Yeah, but like when you decide to move in with somebody and like, now you're keeping lists of whose stuff is what, right? Your foot's halfway in, halfway out. There's no commitment there. And I guess if that makes you feel better, you can leave anytime you want. Yeah, but like moving isn't easy no matter what, right? And when you start buying things and going places and making memories, and then you leave, like it's not easy just, parsing, splitting, right? It's signing a lease, sharing responsibility, so that you're still going over. Marriage and divorce don't even compare. You don't have the same rights or entitlements. See, because again, kind of the government's very much entangled and intertwined. You're only responsible for your agreement in the lease. I live with someone while maintaining my own home, rented it out. But even this, right? Like if you're cohabitating and you have a lease, right, and you're both signed on. If somebody, decides to leave, if she decides to leave, now, things get really hairy and can end up in court, and you're still like, people can still get screwed over, right? That's kind of the big argument here, right? Is people, I lost everything and I got screwed over. Like in those other instances, same thing can happen. And when they say I lost everything, well, I mean, you still have your children, and most of these people, they start seeing other people, they get in new relationships.
Dunskies, 18 years at least, don't fall behind. I've worked with guys that fell behind, man. I remember working in a Texas Roadhouse with a guy that was 54. He said, I'm about to pay off my child support this year. I'm like, oh man, congratulations. Because, I'm in there for child support basically. I'm like, oh man, congratulations. And he's like, yeah, my son's 32. His son was 32 years old. You would have thought, though, by that time, that son would have stepped up and said, hey, mama, leave daddy alone. Take him off that shit, or help his dad pay it out. If my dad was still alive, I'd have helped him pay his off, just so he could have a little bit of a life.
And I don't know all the legalities behind that stuff, guys. I think the traditional thought is like, at 18, you're free, That sounds kind of messed up. But I mean, again, a commitment's a commitment. A responsibility is a responsibility. And you can say the system is unfair. And even for the people that can't afford it, right? I got a really good buddy that unfortunately just got divorced. They have 3 young kids, 5, 7, and 9, and immediately both parents are seeing other people, And it's just like, it's not good for the kids at all. Like that situation and being raised like that is not good for children. And so even if the finances are all good, right? Like both these people make a ton of money, it's still a no bueno. No bueno in my opinion.
So he could have something for himself, because you get nothing. You get to have nothing. There's no, if you're on child support, man, this is for the average man. If you're an average man making less than, I'm going to say, 6 figures, and you're on child support, there's no retirement.
That's me,
for you, man. You're not buying a home. There's no retirement. Like, you're struggling, especially if you got a bitter baby mama that does that 2-year increment shit, to where they wait 2 years and they keep having your child support raised every 2 years. So basically, like right now, my child support's $1,000. They wait 2 years because I have to increase my income to afford the $1,000 payment plus my livelihood. So they'll wait 2 years and then they'll go and get an increase, and it'll be raised to $1,300 or $1,500. 2 years later, same thing, because I have to increase my livelihood to be able to maintain a $1,500 a month payment. They'll do it again.
Dang.
They'll increase it again, $1,500, $2,000, and it just keeps going and going and going. It never ends until it's over. And they want you to fall behind. It's better, to be honest with you, to be a deadbeat and just not work. It's straight up, because the more you make, the more they'll take. It's really better for you. And somebody in there is going to be trying to be oh man, you got to take care of your kids. Yes, you do. But you know, a kid doesn't need $2,000 a month. No child needs $2,000 a month. I've raised my oldest son alone since he was 3 years old. I would say on average, you're looking at $500 a month. That's food, games, random shit. You're looking at $500. Literally.
It's hard to put a number on it, right? And especially in today's economy, food's wicked expensive. But you're talking like school supplies, clothes. I don't know how. You know, obviously the government and these court systems come up with a number. It's probably a percentage of income or something. But I don't know how that all works. But I will say, like, $1,000 to $1,500 a month. Yep, that's a lot of money.
If that. A child does not need $2,000 a month, and there are women out here receiving that. A child doesn't need $1,000 a month, especially when it's the parents already making $4,000 or $5,000 in that household, and then the father's contributing another $1,000 for the child. What you know what I mean? I'm paying for cars and shit now. It's the truth. It's the God's honest truth.
Yeah, I can admit that may be an imbalance or an unfairness. If again, I don't know how exactly the system works, guys, but if we are just looking at income levels, and then where a child stays, both parents' incomes should be taken into account, right? And then you kind of even it out. But according to this guy, right, she could be making boatloads of money already, and then take more on top of it for child support. I mean, avoid divorce, guys. I mean, yeah, we'll get into it here in a little bit.
And we all know it. And nobody cares, because the system is designed for the father to fail. It's designed to keep him in and out of the system, in jail. A lot of people don't realize that, you know, take me, for instance. Every time I make a child support payment, it's $30 a month. Just for me to make my payment, they take $30 from me. So if I pay $1,000, it's $1,030. Okay, that may not seem like much, especially to women listening with a bitter mind, but that may not seem like a lot. But you go ahead and you multiply that state of California, I guarantee you there's 1 million people on child support. I guarantee you in the state of California, there's 1 million people at least on child support. So you take each one of them at a $30 payment every month. Do the math.
Okay,
right?
So he's talking about money for the government.
Insane, right? That's what that system does. That's what that system.
And for a person, that would be over $300 a year.
Systems about has nothing to do with the child. They do not give a shit about the kids. They do not give a shit about you. They don't care about anything. It has to do with them making sure that they get their $30 a month from over 1 million people. Let that shit sink in.
Again, that goes back to marriage, God or government, and that's the government has these systems in place.
I divorced my husband because I was making a certain amount of money. I divorced my husband because I thought I didn't need him anymore. I divorced my husband because I had this senior position at work and thought I held the same position at home. I divorced my husband because I thought I was better than him because I had my degree now. I divorced my husband because I thought a successful marriage meant I was here and he was down here. That is not success. That's fucking sickness. I found myself divorced and out there looking for love in all the wrong places. Fucking this one and that one and that one and that one and this one and that one. And my body count going up and my value going down. I'm just going to call it like a TI is. All the while, my husband done found somebody else building a relationship and building a life with them. I should have stayed married to my husband. I felt like I was on this dark road with no street lights, pitch dark, and I couldn't find my way and didn't know which way to go. I felt lost. I felt like I was walking barefoot on that dark road with pebbles and hot rocks sticking my foot. I felt hurt. I felt alone because every time he and that one and this one and that one left my bed, I was alone all by myself. And which was supposed to be soft and comfortable for me, my pillow, it was now filled with tears. I should not have left my husband. Why did I divorce my husband? I divorced my husband.
I think a lot of women go through this, but you know what? I mean, at least she's being honest, because a lot of women will leave you when they think they can do better or are doing better than you, and they will leave you. I remember I was dating a girl one time that literally told me, after I'd already done so much for her ass, woke up one morning and told me, she was like, I feel like I'm settling for you and I think I can do better. I'd already done so much for this person. I was with her when she was making $14 an hour. I was making a little bit more than her. She was only making $14 an hour. As she finished school or whatever it was, I don't remember exactly, but as she finished and then she got a pay increase from 14, she went to like $25, $26 an hour. It instantly became this attitude she had, like, I can do better than him. I can do, because I think at that time back and then I was only making like $16 or $18 an hour. You know, this is back years ago. And she was like, I can do better than him. And that was her attitude. Once she started making more money than me, she really thought she was better than me and could find a better man than me. So she ended up, you know, dating everybody.
So, but these things, and even with that lady previously, these are foundational beliefs that these people are holding, right? So let's take even take marriage out of it. What this guy's explaining is, even if they weren't married and had some kind of cohabitation relationship, the end result would still be the same. So it's not a marriage issue, right? That's a foundational belief. You know, if this lady's got a raise and now she thinks that she can do better than you and have a better life without you, that's not a marriage issue. That's an ideology, foundational belief issue. That's not a marriage issue. So a lot of these things, and don't get me wrong, guys, there may be people out there that do enter into a marriage with very bad intentions. Okay, but I think for the most part, and hopefully you would sniff that out, right? So like, you know, our daughter's 17, right? She hasn't dated, but when she starts to court, and my wife and I have brought her up in this way, like, it's very important, the person that you are going to decide to marry. And so finding out what their beliefs are, their ideologies, right? How do they act? Does the fruit match with the speech? You know, all these things. It's one of the most important decisions that you'll make in your life. And so you don't just make it with anybody. But again, to his point, and to many of the grievances out there, that's not a marriage issue that he's talking about right there. That's a completely, if she decides she's going to leave you because now she got a $10 raise, that was never a marriage issue.
I watched her dating around, sleep with everybody, this and that. You know, I don't personally ever think she did better than me, but who would admit to that? I honestly, though, I haven't. She's not with no doctors or lawyers or nothing like that. So as far as I know, man, I don't really know what happened to her now, but that's what women do, man. When they start to think that they're doing better than you, they will leave you, and they will leave you with nothing. And you see what she did. She went out there getting her cheeks clapped, playing the field, being a hoe. And now she wakes up full of regret, probably been 10 years later. And here she is just sad because no man really wants her. No man.
What was her character before that, right? Like we make these generalizations, you know, when he says women are going to do that. they're going to leave you when they're doing better. I'm going to have a deeper video coming out soon in the future here, guys, called Till Death Do Us Part. And we're going to talk about these things. What do these things mean for richer or poor, for better or worse? When your wife gets a diagnosis, when your husband gets laid off or loses his job, when you think the grass looks greener on the other side, right? Do these vows mean anything?
Man's taking her serious, because most of them, especially at her age, she looks to be in her 50s. Especially at her age, most men in their 50s already been divorced. They've already paid off their child support. They're not trying to get married. They don't want any more kids. They're not trying to settle down. They're trying to live their life. What women don't understand is our value increases as we age. As we age, our value increases as long as we take care of ourselves
and that thing too, guys, just like the net worth, this word value, like we keep hearing this in the secular world, the red pill manosphere world, where people are talking about value, and they have factors that these things are based on, but it's a very worldly way to look at things. And if your goal is lifelong marriage, it's probably not going to work out. If these are your foundational, life measurements, is value and net worth, you may not be built for the institution that was given to us by God.
keep stacking money, keep improving in the workplace. Remember, fellas, your income needs to be twice your age. But as long as we keep doing what we're supposed to do, our value.
He said our income needs to be twice our age. I'm there. If he means 1 year is $2,000, that's interesting. I've never heard that before. Have you guys heard that before? Did he say that?
But as long as in the workplace, remember, fellas, your income needs to be twice your age.
Your income needs to be twice your age.
Doing what we're supposed to do, our value
interesting
doubles, triples compared to them. Our value increases, theirs decreases. So they're in the decline. That's what they talk about, the wall. She hit the wall. She's in her 50s, men in their 50s. They ain't trying to get married, and especially not to a 50-year-old woman.
See, guys, it's just, oh man, it's sad to hear. That's the secular worldview, humanist, like that. I don't know that logic comes, that's not wisdom from the Lord. When we say value, we all know the biological clock that females have, yes. But that's the only value that we put on them? When you think about like your grandmother and your great grandmother, or you think about a mother in your household, like she has taken care of your kids, not in one of these divorce senses, but take a grandmother who has built her household, served her household well, has kids, grandkids. She's losing value as she gets older. See, guys, that's a really worldly way to look at things. I would say the longer that my wife and I are married, the more I appreciate how much she has supported our family, everything that she does on a day-to-day basis, right? The daily grind, everything that we complain about, right? And rain, sun, snow, sick, not sick, she performs her duties and her roles. And she has the same, reciprocates the appreciation.
Woman, when you're 50 years old making six figures, you're out there looking for 25-year-olds. 22-year-olds. You're not messing around looking for a 50-year-old woman. She should have stayed and kept her ass with her husband. And that's probably a lot of you out there. A lot of you out there should have stayed with your husband, or better stay with your husband. So if you're thinking you can do better, you can't. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you think. You're not going to be able to do better than your husband. Especially if you got kids together, you guys been together for a while, because your body's aging, your body's failing. You are not... You are not what you think you are. Yeah, you might still have a little butt. You might have some titties. You might have a little pretty smile, but it's fading.
I'll let you guys finish that one. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think. It's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate state, but I think it can be avoided. Marriage is a blessing. It's a blessing from the Lord, but we got to follow in His ways and the way that He set it up. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Do I put in the AI robot now? Please subscribe. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. Check out the video. Check out the video. Check out the video.